So Carl read Gilliam's article. He knew Gilliam, and it really stirred his passion. And so he came up here with his family, and he walked way out on Bodega Head and met Rose Gaffney and talked to Joel Hedgepath and other activists out here who weren't really getting very far. And went back home, and he's a good writer. And he actually spent a whole weekend writing a letter to the editor of the San Francisco Chronicle. And I have it here in this book, if any of you want to read it. And he took it into his friend Scott Newhall, who was the editor of the Chronicle at that time. They had previous connections. And Scott had been very helpful in helping Carl set up the Maritime Museum. And Scott essentially said, wow, and didn't tell Carl whether he'd print it or not. And they took up all the letter to the editor space in the San Francisco Chronicle, and Scott let it go, put it in, and left town for 3 days because he knew what his editors would do. Because, you know, the Chronicle and PG&E were very tight. San Francisco and PG&E were very tight, and you didn't dare stick your neck out against PG&E. Well, that caused such a stir, that letter. Never underestimate the power of a letter to the editor. That in that letter, Carl in his final line said, pick up your pen and write a letter to the State Public Utilities Commission and have them reopen the hearings on building a nuclear power plant at Bodega Head. Because they had had a hearing, nobody paid any attention to them, and they had already given PG&E the go-ahead to do this plant. They got 2,500 letters from that letter to the editor. And the PUC did open up their hearings again. And sure, they were very biased, and the hearings didn't get anywhere, but they really got publicity. And that kind of launched the whole effort by people in general to be against the building of this plant out here.